What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Hades. His name is Eric. His opponent today in the red color, also playing as Hades. His name is Domantas. The map is Oasis. And it looks like it is a 2-hole Oasis to boot, which doesn't really change a whole lot compared to the 1-hole Oasis or 4-hole Oasis. It just means there's only 2 holes in the middle. Now, this is a best of 3 for the Challengers League, and this is one of the more interesting matchups for the Challengers. There's a couple of very, very interesting matchups in the Challengers League, kind of the players who basically almost made it to Champions League. Those are the ones I'm most interested in. Those in Chrono JJ, apparently, because he can apparently beat anyone. So we'll see how things are going to go. Eric, the Zeus main, has opted in to playing a Hades matchup here against Domantas, the Hades main. So Eric has got to be feeling that his Zeus on this map is, simply put, not cut out for finding an advantage against Hades here. So you also see all of those beautiful zebra getting killed right underneath the granary here. But I can completely understand here from Eric's point of view. I have played Zeus versus Hades on this map enough to realize this is a very, very tough map for for Zeus to win against Hades. You can't go centaur here because it's just too cut off. There's not going to be anything to raid. Your opponent's got Chiron. It's just going to be a tough game for you. If you go centaur, you can't really go Athena Hippocon here. It doesn't really work. It's your opponent. He can just kind of do whatever he wants. You're not going to be able to block both the settlements. Your opponent can build a temple here and then a wall here, and then your life is over. And things can be very, very difficult here for a Zeus player. So what ends up happening is in the matchup, the Zeus player tends to kind of fake some sort of aggression early, grab 3 town centers, go for a boom, try and find an advantage in the villager count that they can convert into a timing attack, and get a win where that is where that's concerned. But in the end, it requires your opponent to misplay more so than you to outplay. So Zeus here, not picking Zeus for Eric here makes a lot of sense. And I respect his decision, even though I'm upset with it. And we'll see how things are going to go here. Is the temple getting dropped over here? I mean, the other option would have been to just pick Oranos here, in all honesty, against Domantas' Hades. And anyone can play Oranos, including Eric, against Hades. It's not that hard. It's hard to find a win, but on Oasis, it's a good map for Oranos. Anyways, Hades mirror. So what generally ends up being the case here in the Hades mirror is much the same as with Zeus versus Hades, except both players can freely just grab 3 town centers, which is what I would do here. Personally, I would, if I was Eric, if I was Domantas here, I would be maybe not delaying my classical edge. I'd be going for a 4:30 advance time here as best as I can. Get both my heroes out, or maybe not get both my heroes out, actually. I would put my scout in a position that sees where, put my scout in here, trying to see where the heroes are and see which way he sends his heroes, and then I would get my heroes out a little bit delayed to defend a second town center if I need to. And if I don't, then I would wait on getting my heroes even longer until I want to come over here and grab this town center, for example. That way I get a slight advantage on the economy. But Eric does hit the classical edge first. Both players going through Athena. There's no surprises here. Going through Ares makes a small amount of sense in the fact that you're on Oasis. You're probably going to be wanting to make Toxotes here. So if you go Ares, Apollo, Artemis, you can make the scary Artemis. The scary Hades fully upgraded archers. However, the fact it's just not really enough of a bonus over, say, going Hephaestus. Hephaestus is still going to be the better option. You just can't get your economic upgrade. Not your economic upgrades. You can't get your armory upgrades out nicely. And we also see Domanatas here. He picks up a relic, and this relic is a big deal here. Domantas gets himself the Archer Ballista, Kyro Ballista pierce damage plus 5% relic called the toothed arrows. As now, Domantas is in position to grab his town center. He's just getting a little bit of wood there, or at least chopping the wood down before jumping onto the town center. Eric as well going to be doing exactly the same thing here. We do see him getting out the Ajax. He has delayed his Chiron ever so slightly to get it out just a little bit later, whereas same too for Domantas here apparently, as they're both in a very, very similar position. As we see the Ajax moving forward to try and grab the arrows of the Alpha. Both Ajaxes are very, very close on this one, but it looks like Eric will be winning. Arrows of Alpha is just as useful in this matchup, if not more useful than the Pierce Arrow upgrades, or not the Pierce Arrow upgrades, the Archer upgrades. As Eric's going to be bringing that one back home here. And the town center will be up for Eric. You can already see he's got himself the wood basically to throw up another town center here. He just needs to make sure he gets the food. He's got the berries over here as well. Domantas, on the other hand, he's jumping onto this wood line a little bit behind on the wood because he's grabbing husbandry. I don't think there's a huge rush to get husbandry. I would much prefer to see that town center go up over here. We do see the Katoskopos of Eric checking that one out. Meanwhile, same too for Domantas. He's going to be checking this one out as Eric is slowly but surely getting himself the resources to get that second town center up. Now he's just about got it. He's throwing down some walls over here and some military buildings. A little bit unnecessary. Why are these military buildings unnecessary in this matchup? Well, there's nothing to defend. If your opponent wants to build some military units here, what's he going to attack? The berries? You put sentinels down. These walls here, if he gets these up early enough, he's going to be completely fine. We see Domantas has almost got the resources. He just needs some food here to get himself that third town center. Eric as well. He's got plenty of villages on wood, plenty of villages on the farm, on the berries, sorry, and he's throwing farms down. I don't know if you guys know how I feel about early farms. Both players are doing this, actually. You see them over here. But early farms, all it does is slow you down. If you have this many goats, just send the goats over here, eat the goats, send the villagers onto the berries here, eat the goats here, and just float wood for when you want to do your farm transition. Start floating wood a little bit earlier. Yeah, as we see the Hippocon, the Toxotes coming out. They're hanging out in the middle of the map here. Not exactly. I mean, there is a world here where Eric could deny this town center from going up, as the Katoskopos is in the corner over here. He should actually be able to win this fight if his Minotaur is close, but his Minotaur's up to the top side of the map here. It's going to be tough for him to actually take these units out with what he's got, but we'll see how he's going to go here. He's getting closer and closer as the Katoskopos does spot this. We do see the Minotaur getting baited away, which will allow the units to come in ever so slightly as the Chiron is in. The town center is getting closer and closer to finishing. Eric needs to retreat back here. He's about to lose his Toxotes. In fact, he does with that special ability there. As the town center is getting closer and closer to finishing, Eric's going to be kicking himself for not having the Minotaur on the right side of the map here. As units getting closer and closer here, and Eric has to retreat back. Eric realizing he's made a significant mistake here as a town center gets up, and Eric's units at this point are going to be able to do zero pressure. And I mean zero pressure. This town center here with sentinels defends the berry bush, the palm trees over here. This town center could also sentinels this, whichever one that Eric decides he wants to start putting pressure onto. That's all he's going to be able to do. Now, the one advantage which Eric does get here by not getting his town center up and having an army is that he can come in and he can wall off both corners of the map early. That's what he can get from doing this. This is the only thing that building an army gets, and it is useful as we are starting to see Domantas putting these walls up. So Eric just needs to make sure he does this. He needs to make sure that his army is going to be getting himself the walls on the map. And now we see them coming up. Eric's going to take the entirety of the map. It makes a lot of sense here. The only thing is that if Domantas plays it correctly, he should be able to just simply push out, take the walls down, take his own corner in the later stages of the map. But that will, later stages of the game. But we'll see how things are going to go here. As Eric starting to move forward now, as Domantas pulls back underneath his town center here. Just trying to take down the Minotaur and everything else there. He will be able to snipe that one with the Chiron there, but Domantas does pull back behind his town center. Some Toxotes are coming out here. Another military building coming down onto this position as well. Eric, at this point, he's still making units. He's opting to not get this town center at all, as he's still searching around for something to do. Villagers able to get this wall up on this position as well. There's also like a really, really safe back gold mine here. Both players have got this safe back gold mine on both sides of the map. So, I mean, Eric could potentially hit some sort of an underworld play from, let's say, here to kind of get a gold starve in the heroic age, as he's got tons of wood in the bank. And Eric has delayed his farms nicely. So I do like this from Eric. He's only got the one farm up, which I actually don't mind. One farm early-ish, because what you can do is you can shift-click farms around and then right-click onto the farm, and that's going to send all your villagers to the right spot easily. So I do like this from Eric, as he's about to put the town center down over here. And we do see a straggler villager here getting sniped down as the walls coming up over here for Eric. Is taking nice map control on this position as well. I do wonder if he could or not. I think he could get this wall up over here as well. From here to here. That would be a really nice wall. If you could put a wall from this tree over to this side here. A wall from this side over to this side here. Would be a nice way to play this one. It's now Eric sending his army to the bottom side of the map here. I'm not exactly sure what either player is doing building units at this point. Domantas has got all the food in the world. He's just short a little bit of gold here to advance to the heroic age. You just got to remember, this is the point that I try and make here is that when you build an army in Age mythology, there's got to be a reason to build it. Now, Eric building an army here does make sense to some degree because he wants to get the walls up. But Domantas building an army here, he doesn't really need it. Because Eric has got no way to push through this town center. He's got no way to push through this town center. All you need is a couple of buildings here to block this up, or some walls to block this up, and Eric's army is just never going to be able to push through here. Now, we do see some walls coming up on this position for Domantas, as he's going to be positioned over here as Eric's now coming up. Who's going to be able to win this fight? Those 6 archers, 4 Hippocon versus 3 Hippocon, 6 archers. About to be no Hippocon, as Eric's just running straight in there. He's losing a ton of DPS there. Is now Domantas heading through Apollo. Eric also going through Apollo. Both players here are through to the 3rd age at exactly the same time. Now, Eric is at 70 villages. Domantas is at 80 villages. So there's a slight advantage here from Domantas. When you think about the advantage that Domantas has at this point in the game, it's around about 600 resources a minute. That's what being behind 10 villages is. It's about 600 resources a minute. And Eric is obviously going to be catching up here. He's still got the 3 town centers. He can catch up. So whatever is the deficit here or the advantage that Domantas has had will go away, and then it will simply just be an advantage for however long Domantas had those villages. So that's not necessarily enough of an advantage to win a game, but it is enough of an advantage to put Domantas in a winning position. So Eric can still outplay here and find his way back into this game. So we do see the Minotaur getting sniped there. Villagers coming up onto this position, going to be looking to get some sort of a side build here. I like the play, as this wall isn't up just yet. He knows the army's on this position, and Domantas is sneaking his villagers down here. He can put walls down behind both of these walls, or even just start sneaking into this corner here to try and wall this corner off, and then he can start breaking his way back through here as this wall does come down for Eric. Eric feels like he's completely set up over here, but he hasn't actually finished all the walls on the map, which does allow Domantas a very, very big advantage here. He puts the marker down already in the corner of the map, and he actually can send the trade route straight through the middle of the map. Not the best in the world, but he can make that happen, as now Eric has pulled all the way back over here. We see some more military buildings coming down. Archery ranges coming up. Sentinels come through there as well, as Eric is going to be attempting to defend this one as best as he can. Both players with tons of resources in the bank. Fortified town centers coming through for Domantas. Eric is getting himself the market here. He's just about to be able to advance. Going up through Hephaestus first here is going to be advantage Eric for a little bit. But Domantas here, he needs to remember he's got to secure this portion of the map as fast as he possibly can. Now that he's kind of taken back map control. Alternatively, he could push for the top corner of the map over here, which would also be a very, very smart and useful move. But the advantage here for the Vistus of Eric is only about 6%, 4%, whatever it is. So still very, very close here. Both players at 80 villages. Both players probably going to have roughly the same amount of economic upgrades here. As you see, irrigation, quarry, bow saw. As we got, well, Eric's a little bit behind on these upgrades as he's now starting to get himself shaft mine here. His medium arch is also coming through. An attempt to put some walls up over here from Domantas is not going to be working, as this villager now going to slowly start moving over here to put this wall up. As we do see these walls getting taken down here, as Eric's kind of giving away that these walls are here. And like I said, you can kind of just take the walls down relatively simply here as the early three town center player. We see some military buildings getting thrown down in the middle of the map on this position as well. And Eric now going to be throwing down his own fortress here. Now, the most important thing to do here in these situations here, where it's kind of like a rush to the Mythic Age, and this is kind of why I say Toxotes building army, not really the best, because the best army here that you can build is available from the very start of the Mythic Age. You don't need upgrades for it. You don't need armory. You don't need anything. You just need fortresses. And you just build Heliopolis. If you have Heliopolis and you have Hippocon, or you have Heliopolis and you have Hoplites, any army that a Greek player makes that doesn't have Heliopolis will lose. That army is just so strong. And we'll see both players most likely jumping straight into it as we see engineers and Heliopolis coming through for Domantas straight away. Eric, on the other hand, he's got himself the Plenty Vault. He's getting himself the Forge of Olympus. He's got his armories down. Quarry coming through. I think that Eric has got himself irrigation here as well. For flood control, engineers coming through as well for... we already said that. Forge of Olympus for Domantas. So both players on their way to getting max upgrades, as it seems like a little bit of a treaty here in this game. But I mean, both players are playing fairly aggressively in terms of this matchup, in my opinion. As we do see the military academies, archery rangers coming up on this position as well. Eric is looking for some sort of pressure here to stop this from happening. He doesn't want to give this corner up. Meanwhile, Domantas on the bottom corner of the map, he is very happily setting these walls up over here, as this wall has been broken down. But there's still another wall to finish up over here. As you do see the villagers that have made their way into this middle getting sniped by a handful of Hippocon. But it looks like Eric here, he's got to actually find this villager getting this wall up, as these military buildings here, they're a distraction at this point. Meanwhile, on this top position over here, we do see the units retreating back. Champion Archers coming through for Eric as he does click the Underworld somewhere on the map. Where is he going? Oh, he's going over here to defend, as we see Domantas starting to put the pressure on. Domantas does have himself those fully upgraded Heliopolis here, as the village is getting pushed off of the gold mine on this position. Domantas retreating away for the time being. Who's going to start having the upgrade advantage here? Domantas still getting himself his armory upgrades here. Fortified town centers is still not in for Eric, as this timing here is going to be quite nice for Domantas. Not only that, the three Heliopolis are out here. Three Heliopoli are out here for Domantas, and they do so much damage to the town center, to the archers here. The underworld passage getting taken down on this position very, very fast. Villagers getting pulled off of the town center for the time being, as fortified town centers, masons coming through for Eric as fast as it possibly can to defend on this position. We see the Colossus here going to be eating the gold mine as well. The Toxotes taking down villagers very, very fast and easily here. Bronze weapons, bronze mail, burning pitch, architects, medium art, infantry coming through for Domantas as well. As it looks like the town center here deciding to not be targeted any longer, as restoration does get thrown down. That's going to help the underworld passage go right back up to nearly full HP here, as the Manticore does get taken out there. The Heliopolis can start taking out the rest of the town center here, as well as fortified town centers does get finished here. But three Heliopolis onto this position is still going to be a very big deal, as Eric's Achilles going to be getting taken down here as well, as it looks like Eric has got 130 population. He's got plenty of resources in the bank, but his units are just not able to cope with this, as we see a couple more Heliopoli coming through here. The Colossus coming in here as well to try and take out this position. Eric's town center does fall here, as Domantas is able to hold on to his own underworld passage, as the Heliopoli of Eric getting pulled back here as well. And we do see the Colossus getting taken out on this position. as the underworld passage getting repaired back up for days here, as these Heliopoli with engineers are going to easily be able to take out the Heliopoli of Eric. Eric needs to take this underworld passage down. If he clears this one up, he's going to potentially be able to hold here as some more units popping through here. The Colossus falls. The final Heliopolis falls. The underworld passage staying alive with 12 villagers repairing it. And Eric is simply put not able to take it down. He gets himself some Gastrophetes out here to try and finish this one off. The underworld passage of Eric now under siege here, as it's just too little too late for Eric to stop this one. He's got only now 120 of 140 population to Domantas. He's at 160 of 160 population. Domantas is also setting up military buildings on the top location over here to prevent Eric from getting any sort of trade route started. Both players, well, actually, Eric does have a trade route here with 8 donkey caravans, but it's moving straight through over here into this position where Domantas has cleared it up. So these donkey caravans are useless here. Is Iron Mail coming through for Eric? That's not going to help him in the slightest here in this fight, as the Heliopolis are just about to finish the underworld passage on this position. And that, well, we do also say that Domantas's underworld has been taken down, but Domantas has got a couple of military buildings over here to help out. He's about to get his fortress up over here, and he's just not losing units here. So it doesn't even matter. And Eric in that moment does have to tap out, as Domantas manages to find the slight advantage here. And what was the advantage? It was the advantage, really. The only advantage here for Domantas was that he got his fortress up a little bit earlier. He got his fortified town centers up a little bit earlier. And that was it. Getting those military buildings up and getting the Heliopolis out first means he gets more Heliopoli than his opponent. And this is something that this is the reason why I think the way that I think in this matchup. The reason why I think that units are useless here in the classical age, in the heroic age, is because all it does is slow down your ability to get Heliopolis out, which is just simply put that they're so strong. These units here, yes, they cost 5 population. Yes, they cost 500 resources, but they have 650 HP. So firstly, compare that over to a hoplite that's at, let's even say it's at champion. That's like 150, 160 HP. You times that by 2.5 to get to the 5 population, and you're like, okay, Heliopolis has got more population. Yeah, Heliopolis has got more HP than a hoplite. Then you go ahead here and you go, all right, so it does 6 pierce damage. Well, it does 7 pierce damage. Not 7. Yes, it does 7. Well, we'll talk about it. So it does 6 pierce damage, but it shoots 3 arrows. So now it's doing 6 times 3. So you're sitting at 18 damage there. Plus you do the one extra damage for the crush being there as well. So it's doing 7. An extra, what did I say? 6, 12, 18. So it's doing 21 damage a second. And then you go over here and you look at the Toxotes. And you're like, okay, the Toxotes does do a little bit more damage than the Heliopolis. But the Heliopolis doesn't take any damage from the Toxotes. So it's like it doesn't die to archers at all. So it's like, why are you building any Toxotes here? When you could just have, and you don't have to upgrade them. So you can just build Heliopoli here and just win. Anyways. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. Congratulations to Domantas. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the next game.